So I finally got around to checking out The Pope's Exorcist starring Russell Crowe, but the question is it any good? Stick around to find out. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about The Pope's Exorcist. Directed by Julius, Avery, and starring Russell Crowe, Daniel Zovatto, Alex Essoe, Laurel Marsden, and Peter DeSouza-Feighoney, this film focuses on Gabrielle Amorth, a real-life exorcist. So as the marketing for this film started to roll out, I found myself pretty interested to check this movie out. It didn't look like it was gonna completely blow my mind or anything like that, but it looked like a good fun time, and I am a huge fan of Russell Crowe. And I'm happy to start this off by saying that I thought that Russell Crowe was fantastic in this film, and easily is the best part of this movie. He gives the most gripping performance throughout without a doubt, and is the one I found myself the most compelled by while watching the film. He plays real-life exorcist Gabrielle Amorth, and of course this is a based on a true story kind of movie, you know, take that as you will. Of course, this is a movie, this is an exorcism, possession film, so there's going to be a lot of liberties when it comes to the creative side of this movie, but as far as what this movie is based on, it is in fact based on a real exorcist who was the Pope's exorcist, who had written books and written articles about various different exorcisms that he had done and different experiences that he had had, and so they made a movie based on a culmination of some of those experiences, and Russell Crowe plays just that man. And I thought, again, he gave a great performance, and I'm just very happy that Russell Crowe was the part I was the most excited about, and thankfully he delivered. Now the question is, how is the movie? I'm happy to say I enjoyed the film. I saw a lot of mixed bag reviews when it was coming to this movie, seeing that for the most part a lot of it was leaning negative, and I'm happy to say I don't really lean negative myself, but by no means do I find this to be a phenomenal film. I don't think that this is a mind-blowing exorcism film or demon possession film in a very saturated genre of movies. There are so many movies in this type of genre, in this specific subgenre of horror, and you know, this is one that feels in a lot of ways fairly run-of-the-mill. It feels like I've been there, done that. However, I did find the film to be very well made, and it kept my attention for majority of the runtime, and so I'm happy to say I enjoyed it. Russell Crowe being the highlight for sure, but outside of that, I found that the film was very well shot from beginning to end. There's some great cinematography that definitely kept me engaged in the movie. Nothing, again, that's overly inventive, but I thought it was well done for what it was. And beyond that, you also have a great utilization of great practical locations, practical designs, and costumes throughout the course of the film. There's definitely some practical effects as well that I think very much added to the look and the feel of this film. And while there are some digital effects that maybe are a little cartoony in comparison to everything else in the film, I thought for the most part the visuals of this film were definitely solid from beginning to end. Now the base premise of this film, without getting too far into spoilers, is that we're following a family from America who's just moved to Spain now because of the fact that the late father in this situation, the late husband who passed away about a year ago, he just had inherited this from his family, and it was the last thing that this mother and her two kids have to their name. So they decide to come over to Spain to help renovate this old mansion, this old cathedral looking place, and unfortunately, as you would expect with a movie like this, not too long into it, due to the construction, they end up unlocking an area of the house that was held off and had a demon in it, and the demon ends up getting into the son Henry in this film, and then we have a demon possession movie where we need the Pope's exorcist, played by Russell Crowe, to come and save this family and this young boy from this demon. And that's the base premise without getting too far into spoilers. And for the most part, I think that, like I said, this is a fairly run-of-the-mill film in this genre. There isn't an abundance in this movie that's completely new to audiences. We've seen a lot of this stuff before. We've seen the creepy demon-possessed child a million times in movies. But I'm happy to say that I thought the young boy who played Henry in this film was really solid. His name is Peter DeSouza-Feighoney, and I really enjoyed his performance. I found that he was probably the creepiest, eerie element of this film. He had a good creepy look to him. The voice that's obviously added on, I thought, really added to the creep factor of his character, and it made the demon in this film very entertaining to watch. A lot of times when it comes to these movies, the downside is that the demon just feels like another generic demon from any other movie. And while this film definitely tugs on that line as well and is very much something that could fall within that same bracket, I did find myself enjoying the demon in this film because the demon actually had a pretty decent amount of screen time and a decent amount of lines throughout the course of the film that kept it as a pretty interesting antagonist from beginning to end for Russell Crowe's character. So I'm definitely happy that I thought the cast was strong, I thought the look and the feel of this movie was strong, and where this movie really kind of started to go down for me was in a little bit of its pacing. This is a movie that I found had a really interesting setup. Again, nothing that's out of the ordinary for this genre, but I was interested to see where it would go. But about in the middle section of the film, I started to feel like the movie was dragging a little bit. I never felt completely disconnected or disengaged. I've seen some people call this movie a snooze fest or a snore fest or just a bore fest all around, and I'm happy to say I didn't ever find myself within that realm. Now, I did see this at an 11 a.m. showing after a good night of sleep, so that could have helped with it. But, you know, for the most part, I found that the film was just a little bit slow in the middle. There are moments in the film where it feels like the pacing has just kind of died out and we're not necessarily getting as much interesting stuff going on screen, but it's never like we're completely halting the story and anything ever feels completely disengaged. I found myself a little bit bored at times. I felt like it was dragging a little bit, but I was always consistently engaged to see where it was going to go. The movie hadn't lost me amidst those slow moments. But I think what this film really is just held back is the fact that it does feel fairly run-of-the-mill. While I do feel like it was very well made and very well performed and there was a lot about it visually that I really enjoyed, I do just feel like when you think about this film 10-15 years out, it's just gonna kind of fall within a bracket of a bajillion other movies in this genre that are about demon possession or exorcism. I don't think this movie does anything specific to really elevate the material here and make it something that's gonna be a repeat viewing for people on a yearly basis around the Halloween season or anything like that. But for what it is, I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was incredible. I didn't dislike it though, and it's a movie that I think is gonna be a good time if you ever just throw it on Netflix or on Hulu or some streaming service down the line. I don't necessarily know that this is something you need to rush to theaters and spend your hard-earned cash on when I think there are far better movies in the genre right now that are in theaters, most notably the last movie I covered here on the channel, Evil Dead Rise, which is also obviously part of a franchise but also a demon possession film of sorts and was a substantially better and far more entertaining film than this one. And so that's my thoughts on The Pope's Exorcist. A solid film, movie that I think is getting a little bit too much hate online. I think a movie that has a good time for with what it is. I think it's very well made. I don't think there's anything about it that's necessarily offensively bad, and I don't necessarily think it's a movie that's going to blow anybody's socks off, but I think it's a harmless watch within the genre of possession films and exorcism films that is definitely at least worth watching, if anything, for at least Russell Crowe's performance. So that's going to be my quick thoughts on the movie. Thank you guys so much for clicking here on the video and hearing my thoughts. And as usual, I want to ask the question to you guys. Did you like The Pope's Exorcist? Did you not like The Pope's Exorcist? Are you going to even see The Pope's Exorcist? Whatever the case may be, leave any and all comments down below. Hit that like button, subscribe for more videos so you guys don't miss a future review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.